Do you know someone who's been divorced? Most of us could say yes. When a child in a family goes through divorce, they are impacted by trauma. There's a chance that someone you know and love suffers from mental illness, drug and alcohol addiction, or has experienced violence. The children of that family have been exposed to trauma. This is something that affects all of us, and for some children there is a direct and residual effect. This is what our work is about. But what is trauma and toxic stress? How does trauma in early childhood affect behavioral and health outcomes, both now and later? How do we shift our perspective about the families that we are living in community with? How do we best respond to children and families that have been impacted by toxic stress? This work is not about us and them. It's not a socioeconomic issue. Adverse childhood experiences and trauma impact children in all zip codes and at all economic levels. It's about us in the Pottstown community working together to figure out how can we support families and children going through the rough times. Why does this matter? Because ongoing stress can lead to interrupted brain development. ACEs can impact your physical, social, and emotional health throughout your life. So what can we do? We can work to break the cycle. We can build positive relationships and connection with our families to help them cope with ACEs and to thrive.
ACEs matter because when they add up, the ongoing stress can lead to behavior management problems, just a general feeling of safety, interference with brain development, and all of that matters. This is why some kids misbehave at home and at school. It's not that they're trying to push our buttons, even though I know it feels that way sometimes, but they're sending up an SOS. The question is, how do we respond to that SOS? We can respond to that SOS by reducing the incidence of ACEs and by building resilience. And we can build resilience in the community of Pottstown by listening to other people's stories. We actually don't know people's starting points in life. We don't know the obstacles that they faced simply to get out of bed this morning and to be where they're meeting you. Maybe you're meeting someone in a grocery line. You see someone who's having difficulty with their little toddler. You're making judgments about that person as a parent, but you actually don't know what's going on in their life. So taking the time to hear people's stories and learn them and know them is the first step in making a connection. We need to hear the stories and help change the narrative around the stories. And if we want to change people's thinking, we have to set the narrative. And this is what the narrative is. ACEs matter. When a story includes things like heart disease, diabetes, drug and alcohol addiction, having run-ins with the law, and continuing the cycle with their own children, these are the things that we're concerned with. That's what happens when children become adults and trauma has been left unresolved. Why does connection matter? Studies show that connection and positive relationships help children and adults cope with ACEs and the results of ACEs. We know that connection to family, friends, and community builds belonging. Why does belonging matter? Belonging allows us to put down roots and blossom while building a strong Pottstown community. Together, we can recognize, respond to, and reduce the struggles that kids and adults face every day. We want kids to have the childhoods that they deserve and families to experience the connectedness that leads to flourishing. I am breaking the cycle by changing the way we understand and respond to the SOS.